The movie, set in the chilly December of 1982, introduces us to its central character, Rambo. A decorated former soldier, the plot begins a decade after the war's conclusion, capturing Rambo's journey across the American Northwest. His mission is personal, to reconnect with a comrade in arms, Delmar, whom he knew from his unit. Rambo's quest leads him to Delmar's farm. There, he encounters Delmar's mother, who delivers the heartbreaking news that Delmar has passed away just a few months prior. The cause of his death is a cancer, tragically linked to exposure to a chemical used during the Vietnam War. The narrative then shifts to Rambo's arrival in Hope, a small town in Washington state. It doesn't take long for Rambo to catch the attention of the local sheriff, Teasle. Teasle, who harbors a deep-seated distrust of drifters, takes an immediate dislike to Rambo. Perceiving him as a potential troublemaker, Teasle forcefully escorts him out of town. However, Rambo decides to return to Hope almost immediately. This act of defiance aggravates Sheriff Teasle, who then decides to arrest Rambo. In the gripping scenes that follow, Rambo finds himself in a dire situation at the local police station. Here, he is confronted by the town's law enforcement, led by the sheriff's head deputy, Galt, known for his cruel manner and as the sheriff's closest ally, subjects Rambo to a harrowing ordeal of brutality and harassment. As the officers at the station proceed to process Rambo, the mere act of attempting to dry shave him with a straight razor becomes the catalyst for a terrifying flashback. Rambo is vividly transported back to 1969, being a prisoner of war in a North Vietnamese camp. Overwhelmed by the intensity of the flashback, he reacts with a ferocity and skill that take everyone by surprise. In a desperate bid for freedom, he engages in a fierce struggle, fighting his way out of the police station. In a dramatic turn of events, Rambo's escape continues as he forcibly takes a motorcycle from a civilian. This act signals the beginning of a high-stakes chase, with Rambo now pursued into the rugged terrain of the nearby mountains. As the deputies, determined to capture Rambo, embark on a manhunt. Their pursuit, however, is not an easy one. Rambo, with his specialized military training and survival skills, proves to be a formidable guy. He cleverly uses the rugged terrain to his advantage, leading the deputies into a challenging chase through the wilderness. One of the most intense moments of this pursuit occurs when Rambo, in a bid to evade his pursuers, scales down a steep cliff. Cornered and alone, Rambo is pushed to the limits of his endurance and survival instincts. The situation takes a dramatic turn when Galt, the head deputy, spots Rambo from a helicopter. Galt attempts to shoot Rambo in cold blood.
I can't! We're in a thermodraft! Jesus, Norm, he's stuck there! He can't go anyplace!
Rambo's response is one of pure instinct. He throws a rock at the helicopter. The rock strikes the helicopter, causing it to pitch unexpectedly. In the chaos, Galt falls to his death. Sheriff Teasle, witnessing the aftermath but not the context of Galt's fall, is consumed with the desire for vengeance. The narrative intensifies as Sheriff Teasle leads his team of deputies into the dense woods in a concerted effort to capture Rambo. This mission, however, is far from straightforward. The deputies, lacking in experience and not accustomed to dealing with a highly trained adversary, find themselves in over their heads. He employs guerrilla tactics and sets up booby traps. He manages to quickly disable the small and disorganized team of deputies. Rambo exercises restraint. He severely wounds the deputies, but deliberately avoids taking their lives. Amidst the chaos and confusion, Rambo isolates Sheriff Teasle. He holds a knife to Teasle's throat. He issues a severe caution, advising not to provoke him. Rambo vanishes into the woods. As the situation escalates, a base camp is hastily set up near the area where Rambo has eluded capture. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, the authorities call in the National Guard. Amidst this heightened tension, a new character enters the scene: United States Special Forces Colonel Troutman. Colonel Troutman is not just any military officer, he is the man who trained Rambo. He approaches Sheriff Teasle and shares crucial insights. He explains that Rambo is not just a soldier but a survivor. Troutman's surprise at finding any of Teasle's deputies alive after confronting Rambo is a testament to the level of skill and efficiency Rambo possesses. Colonel Troutman offers a critical piece of advice, suggesting that the best course of action would be to let Rambo go for now and try to find him after things have calmed down. town. However, Teasle adamantly refuses to heed Troutman's counsel. In an intriguing turn of events, Teasle learns that Rambo has acquired a CB radio from one of his deputies. Seizing this opportunity, Teasle allows Troutman to communicate with Rambo in an attempt to persuade him to surrender. During this conversation, Troutman tries to reason with Rambo, urging him to give himself up. However, Rambo is not swayed. He is adamant in his stance. Soon after, Rambo finds himself increasingly cornered. His relentless pursuers, the National Guard, manage to track him down to a mine entrance where he has sought temporary refuge. In a drastic move, the inexperienced guardsmen decide to use a rocket launcher against Rambo. They fire the rocket at the mine entrance, resulting in a massive explosion that collapses the entrance. Believing that no one could survive such a blast, the guardsmen prematurely assume that Rambo is dead. However, unbeknownst to them, Rambo's survival skills are unmatched. Inside the mine, he quickly navigates through the tunnels, evading the collapse. In the pitch-black darkness of the mine, Rambo resourcefully finds some old fuel and creates an improvised torch. As he moves through the mine, he encounters challenges like waist-deep water and swarms of rats, but remains undeterred. Rambo uses the flame of his torch to detect airflow, guiding him towards an escape route to the surface. Once outside, Rambo's determination to survive leads him to hijack a US Army cargo truck. In a bold move, he throws out the driver and heads back to town. Rambo's actions escalate when he deliberately crashes the truck into a gas station. He further intensifies the situation by igniting the spilled fuel, resulting in the destruction of both the gas station and the stolen truck. Armed with a machine gun, Rambo then engages in a shooting spree in the town. The residents, caught in the crossfire of this escalating conflict, flee in panic. Rambo's rampage includes shooting up a sporting goods shop and several other businesses. This destructive spree is not mindless violence. It is a calculated effort to sow confusion among his pursuers, particularly Sheriff Teasle, and to locate his position. Eventually, Rambo spots Teasle on the roof of the police station. In the climactic moments of the story, Rambo, with a mix of caution and determination, makes his way into the police station. He is acutely aware that Sheriff Teasle is on the roof, lying in wait. He intentionally exposes himself to draw Teasle's fire, a tactic aimed at pinpointing Teasle's exact location. As expected, immediately opens fire. Rambo responds swiftly. He fires back through the ceiling with his machine gun, managing to injure Teasle. In a tense and dramatic moment, Rambo stands over Teasle, prepared to end the confrontation with lethal force. However, before Rambo can take any further action, Colonel Troutman appears on the scene, intervenes at this critical point. He confronts Rambo with the harsh reality. There is no possibility of escaping this situation alive. Surrounded by police and at a crossroads, Rambo experiences a profound emotional breakdown. He unleashes his frustration and anger. He shares how, in the army, he was honored as a war hero, but back in America, he faced distrust and estrangement to the point where he couldn't even be trusted with minor jobs. Feeling completely misunderstood and at the end of his tether, Rambo, in a moment of surrender, turns himself in to Troutman. As Rambo and Troutman exit the police station together, the scene encapsulates the complex emotions and unresolved issues of a veteran who fought bravely for his country but struggled to find his place upon returning home. The movie opens with a scene set in a state mine, where prisoners are forced to labor under harsh conditions. Among them is Rambo, the protagonist, serving time for the chaos he caused in the town of Hope. The film quickly ramps up when Rambo is called by a guard to meet a visitor, Colonel Troutman, his former commander. Troutman offers Rambo a chance at redemption, a secret mission in Vietnam. Initially, Rambo is hesitant. However, the prospect of a presidential pardon and freedom from his remaining 5-year sentence persuades him to accept the mission. Rambo's task is a noble yet daunting one: to rescue prisoners of war. Troutman expedites Rambo's release from prison, and the film shifts to a fast-paced sequence as Rambo is flown by helicopter to a US military base in Thailand. Upon arrival, he is greeted by a mercenary named Eric, but remains focused on his mission and promptly meets with Troutman. There, he is introduced to Murdoch, the official overseeing the mission, who, impressed by Rambo's military record, approves him for the task. Murdoch's orders for Rambo are unexpectedly non-combative. to take photographs of a POW camp without engaging the Vietnamese military. Despite his surprise, Rambo agrees. Before departing, Trautman shows Rambo the advanced technology and weaponry at their disposal. Rambo, impressed by the equipment, underscores the importance of human intellect and resilience over technology, leaving Murdoch slightly unsettled. Trautman reassures Murdoch of Rambo's exceptional bravery and endurance. As the mission's departure nears, Rambo prepares with essential gear, including knives, weapons, and cameras. Despite Murdoch's skepticism about Rambo's capability to rescue the POWs, Rambo boards the plane, a mix of determination and apprehension evident in his demeanor, haunted by memories of his comrades lost in Vietnam. Shortly after takeoff, Rambo's gear gets tangled during his jump, leading to a crash landing. Murdoch orders the mission aborted, but Rambo, showcasing his survival skills, frees himself and continues his mission through the forest. During his journey, Rambo encounters and ambushes a suspicious figure, later revealed to be Ko Bao, his contact for the mission. Rambo decides to trust her, and they proceed together. Ko Bao suggests a safer water route, leading them to a pirate ship prepared to evade the Vietnamese army. The captain, armed with a bazooka, displays readiness to defend against enemy patrols. Throughout their journey, Rambo and Ko Bao bond over shared personal histories. Ko Bao reveals her father's background in intelligence and her decision to take his place following his death. Rambo, in a rare moment of vulnerability, acknowledges his expendability in the mission, understanding that no rescue efforts will be made for him if he doesn't survive. This exchange deepens their connection and prepares them for the upcoming challenges. The narrative intensifies at the headquarters. Colonel Trautman is deeply concerned for Rambo's safety and suggests launching a rescue operation to bring him back. However, he is met with hesitance from Murdoch, who expresses doubt about Rambo's survival due to the lack of communication from the mission. Despite Murdoch's skepticism, Trautman's persistence eventually leads to his inclusion in the rescue team. Meanwhile, Rambo and his ally Ko Bao endure a grueling journey down a river to reach their destination. The duo then proceeds through dense forest to approach a Vietnamese military prisoner camp. Rambo initially believes the camp is deserted, but the presence of a prostitute ordered by the Vietnamese army indicates it is still active. Rambo's mission is to confirm American POW's presence. He creates a makeshift arrow to discreetly gather information, but Ko Bao urges him to stick to their original mission of photographing the camp. However, Rambo's moral compass compels him to go beyond mere documentation. He infiltrates the camp, leaving Ko Bao outside. In the camp, Rambo's skills as a soldier shine. He skillfully navigates the area, evading detection and locating a prison housing American POWs. He prioritizes the rescue of a particular prisoner tied outside. Rambo silently takes down the guards using his knives and arrows, and in a critical moment, he saves Ko Bao from being executed by a guard. The next morning, the discovery of a guard's body triggers an alarm, sending the camp into a frenzy to find Rambo. Trautman and Eric, unaware of the chaos, prepare for their rendezvous with Rambo. During their escape, Rambo, Ko Bao, and the rescued prisoner Banks board the pirate ship, but they are soon pursued by Vietnamese troops, led by Lieutenant Tay. A Vietnamese battleship appears, revealing the pirates' betrayal. Rambo fights back using a bazooka to destroy the enemy ship, and narrowly escapes after a tense struggle with a pirate. Soon after, Ko Bao and Banks regroup with Rambo, who urges them to keep moving towards the pickup point. Rambo parts ways with Ko Bao, who reassures him of his efforts' worth. Trautman arrives at the pickup location, astonished to find Rambo has rescued a prisoner. Eric supports Rambo's escape using the helicopter's weaponry, allowing Rambo and Banks to reach safety. However, back at headquarters, Murdoch's reaction to Rambo's success is far from supportive. He controversially orders the abandonment of the rescue operation, justifying his decision by citing Rambo's disobedience and potential diplomatic consequences. In a devastating turn of events, Rambo and Banks, positioned under the rescue helicopter, are left stranded as Murdoch orders the operation to be aborted. Ko Bao, observing from a distance, realizes the direness of Rambo's situation. The narrative takes a dramatic turn at the headquarters. Colonel Trautman confronts Murdoch over his decision to abandon Rambo in Vietnam. Trautman, expressing both anger and disappointment, questions the morality and logic behind leaving Rambo behind. Murdoch, unfazed, justifies his actions by pointing to Rambo's deviation from the mission's original objective, displaying a striking indifference to the ethical dilemmas inherent in their line of work. Trautman's frustration is palpable as he grapples with the harsh reality of the situation. Trautman leaves, warning Murdoch of the potential repercussions of abandoning Rambo. Meanwhile, in Vietnam, Rambo faces extreme adversity. He is captured, bound, and subjected to inhumane treatment, including being submerged in pig excrement. The situation worsens with the arrival of a Russian army unit led by Lieutenant Colonel Podovsky, introducing a new and formidable enemy. Podovsky, armed with a knife, tries to intimidate Rambo, but soon realizes that Rambo is not one to be easily frightened. Podovsky orders Rambo to be cleaned up for a rigorous interrogation. During the interrogation, Rambo faces the threat of torture, as Podovsky demands information. Despite the imminent danger, Rambo remains resolute, refusing to comply. Podovsky then forces Rambo to make a radio call to headquarters, but Rambo resists, leading to further torture by Podovsky's subordinate, Yushin. In a surprising turn, Kobau infiltrates the facility disguised as a prostitute to rescue Rambo. Podovsky intensifies his brutal tactics, electrocuting Rambo to break his will, but Rambo's steadfast resolve remains unbroken. During his torture, Podovsky intercepts a conversation that reveals Rambo's intentional abandonment by Murdoch. Despite this revelation, Rambo continues to defy Podovsky. As the torture escalates, Rambo's endurance astonishes Podovsky. Kobau, having eliminated a guard and retrieved Rambo's weapons, sets out to find him. Podovsky, seeking to apply more pressure, threatens to harm Banks if Rambo refuses to cooperate. Banks encourages Rambo not to give in, but Rambo agrees to contact headquarters to save his friend. Unbeknownst to Podovsky, Kobau positions herself beneath the interrogation room. Rambo, eventually noticing her, contacts headquarters with a coded message and threatens Murdoch. Rambo and Kobau then execute a daring escape, fighting off both Vietnamese and Russian troops. Despite being outnumbered, they manage to break through the camp's perimeter using grenades. However, their escape is filled with danger. Vietnamese and Russian forces relentlessly pursue them, employing a helicopter to launch missile attacks. Throughout the night, Rambo and Kobau skillfully evade the strikes. At dawn, the enemy forces, unable to locate Rambo, retreat. Kobau tends to Rambo's injuries, providing a brief respite. At headquarters, Troutman tries to persuade Murdoch to extract Rambo, but Murdoch refuses, leading to a heated confrontation. Troutman, driven by emotion, considers rescuing Rambo himself, but faces resistance from Eric and other mercenaries acting under Murdoch's orders. Rambo and Kobau, meanwhile, develop a deep emotional bond. Kobau shares her dream of escaping Vietnam and starting a new life in America with Rambo, and their relationship blossoms. Tragedy strikes when Kobau is fatally shot by Lieutenant Tay's forces. Overcome with grief and rage, Rambo launches a relentless attack on the enemy soldiers. In her final moments, Kobau implores Rambo not to forget her. After burying Kobau, Rambo channels his grief into a vengeful mission. He incapacitates his enemies with sheer strength and stealth, using his bow and arrows to silently eliminate them. Leaving the enemy confused and unable to track him, Rambo cleverly lures the enemy into a trap by entering a small village. He steals a chicken and kerosene from the villagers and leads the pursuing troops into a sugarcane field, setting the stage for a strategic confrontation. The narrative reaches its climax with the soldiers conducting a thorough search in the garden. They stumble upon a bloodstain, and assuming it to be Rambo's, they follow the trail. However, their discovery at the garden's center is unexpected. Remnants of chickens and empty gasoline canisters, revealing that the blood was not Rambo's after all. Seizing the moment, he sets fire to the garden and climbs a tree, gaining a strategic vantage point. From his elevated position, Rambo unleashes a barrage of arrows equipped with incendiary devices, targeting the enemy below. His relentless assault from the sugarcane plantation forces the enemy soldiers to succumb to the flames. Further fueled by the oil Rambo had previously scattered. He also uses his arrows to detonate enemy vehicles, causing chaos and destruction. As Rambo moves towards a waterfall, he encounters Lieutenant Tay, who fires multiple shots at him. Tay's shots miss, allowing Rambo to retaliate, wounding Tay, who tries to flee. The conflict escalates with the arrival of Yushin in a helicopter carrying a bomb. Rambo narrowly escapes the explosion by diving into the water, avoiding the blast. Yushin's men open fire, but Rambo, using his combat prowess, ambushes them. In the helicopter, Rambo confronts Yushin in a physical fight. Despite Yushin's larger size, Rambo's resourcefulness allows him to prevail, even expelling the pilot from the aircraft. Taking control of the helicopter, Rambo heads back to the Vietnamese army camp to rescue the prisoners. Upon arrival, Rambo launches a missile attack, catching the Vietnamese and Russian soldiers off guard. The prisoners, witnessing Rambo's return, are astounded. Rambo's assault decimates the enemy forces, enabling him to free the captives. However, their escape is threatened by a Russian helicopter gunship piloted by Podovsky. In a fierce aerial battle, Podovsky relentlessly pursues Rambo's helicopter, which is now carrying the freed prisoners. Despite being pursued and fired upon, Rambo skillfully evades the attacks. As they near a village, the captives resist, managing to incapacitate one of Podovsky's men. Podovsky, enraged, intensifies his assault, causing Rambo's helicopter to emit smoke. In a dramatic turn, Rambo's helicopter disappears, leaving Podovsky searching. When Podovsky finally locates Rambo's helicopter, Rambo uses a bazooka to destroy Podovsky's aircraft, eliminating the threat. Rambo then pilots the damaged helicopter towards the US headquarters in Thailand. Despite the damage, he skillfully navigates the helicopter, contacting headquarters to alert them of the rescued prisoners. The news brings relief and joy, although Murdoch is gripped by fear, recalling Rambo's earlier threats. Upon landing, Rambo, armed and determined, and then proceeds to destroy the sophisticated equipment at the base, heightening Murdoch's fear. In a tense standoff in Murdoch's office, Rambo demands action to rescue remaining captives, threatening Murdoch's life. Outside, Troutman informs Rambo of a second Medal of Honor. Rambo declines, suggesting it be given to the rescued prisoners. Troutman then reveals Rambo's freedom and suggests he rejoin the military. However, Rambo refuses. In the final moments, Rambo expresses his desire for a nation that truly cares for its soldiers, just as soldiers care for their country.
Who came over here? He spilled his guts and gave everything he had.
With this, he chooses a path beyond the military, and the movie concludes with Rambo walking away, seeking a new direction in life. Thanks for watching our movie recaps. We've got something special for film fans, a curated selection of top-tier gear for an ultimate home movie experience. Click the link in the description to browse our selections on our website. Your purchases directly support our channel, helping us bring you more great movie content.